Hey, everybody. Welcome in. Sorry, running a bit behind today, but we are here. Mountain Grandma will be here just momentarily. Hope everybody's doing well. If you're watching the replay, we will be talking about breaking down goals into manageable steps. So we appreciate you watching. Hope it's helpful. Hey, Heather, Milk and Honey Heritage Farms. Good to see you. Mountain Grandma will be here in just a minute. We're just running a bit behind this morning. So just hang out with us. We're going to be talking about breaking down goals today. Hope everybody's doing well. How are you, Heather? Life gets busy, I tell you. It's a beautiful sunny day and it is nice and warm. It's going to be in the 50s for most of the week. So we are very excited about that. Super cool. Here's Mountain Grandma. You ready? All right, here she is. Hey, Tammy.
Hey, I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can get some light in here.
No worries at all. Glad to hear you're doing well, Heather.
Yeah.
I'm tired. Today's National Nap Day or something, so try to get a nap.
It's the, you know what? I need to get to sleep earlier now that the clocks are different and all that stuff.
Oh, no kidding. 2 nights of me being up way too late.
Hey, Barb. So
Hey,
good to see
Barb.
you, Lisa. How's your week been?
Good to see you too. It's doing good. We're having most of the week is going to be in the mid 50s, upper 50s, so we're pretty excited about
I
that.
know. Isn't it awesome? Are you
How
guys
about
getting
you?
so we're supposed to be getting good weather this week too, and I was going to try to take Friday off, and now I hear there's supposed to be like a really bad storm on Friday. So I'm thinking, sheesh, every time I try to take time off, it's when the weather's bad, you know? So
Well,
frustrating.
maybe that's what you need.
Maybe,
A
maybe.
nice day to just watch the storm come through. Is it going to be snow or
I think it's going to be not fun storm stuff, like
gotcha?
tornado threats and whatnot.
Oh,
Nothing
geez.
relaxing. Yeah. But here's the thing, Lisa. So talking goals here. I've got a simple goal of grow some stuff. I haven't even, it's not a smart goal. It's just grow some stuff. It's not, there's no measurements. There's no, like, I'm not necessarily challenging myself to grow any certain quantity of food. I just want to grow some stuff. And I haven't planted a single thing.
Hey, Troy.
Hey, Troy. Hey,
Um,
Charles.
hey, Charles of Bushcraft.
So here I am thinking, I've got to get my seeds in the ground. And then when I have time off, it's the weather's bad or it's being eaten up by other priorities.
Right. And so that's the thing. Can you make it a priority when the weather is good to
I think I'm
take
going to have to now, right? Like the
a
long.
half hour to
I
get
need you
this
to help. I need
half
help.
hour that it doesn't even take that long. We think it takes forever, but it doesn't.
And I'll tell you something else that's going on with me right now. So I'm break out my paper and pen here. So now here's what I've done, and I don't know if everybody else does this or if it's just my own personal craziness that's happening. But now that I have this feeling like I'm behind, I'm thinking I need to make a plan and I need to schedule time, like you said. And I don't even know that I can wait until this weekend. I'm feeling like I need to try to take baby steps. I did, and that's what you're talking. That's what the name of this is, right? Like little steps or whatever. Perfect for me. Oh, I forgot I got something on the stove. If I put some my chicory root dandelion coffee on the stove and I hear it hissing, I'm gonna have to hop out and go turn that off here in
Let,
just a second.
let me say one thing to you though.
Huh.
The other thing is taking care of yourself. So if it's too much, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
sometimes we have to let things go.
Yeah. Well, see, I did when I told myself I just want to grow some stuff. instead of like, I want to grow what I grow well. I think this year, instead of, I'm hoping I get a decent quantity, but I really want to get a little more familiar and accustomed to the best way to fertilize my plants, to get more out of each individual plant. So
That's
it's kind of
brilliant.
something that I'm thinking about. Okay, hang on. It's getting serious. Let me
Hey,
go turn
Gwen.
that off. I'll be right back.
No worries. Hey, Gwen, bro, cowgirl, good to see you. Yeah, and I think that, sometimes we have to give ourselves some grace as well. And I think that's important, because if it becomes such a rat race, it's not what you want. I know that I got peppers started really late. But they're started, so we'll see what happens. And then we'll be getting ready end of the month to start everything else, and getting it into the ground and all that stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But I know that storm that Tammy was talking about is, going to race across the United States, and they're talking about it being a Colorado low with a bomb
Mhm.
cyclone and some other crap. Um, it looks like it's totally going to miss us right now.
Well, that's good. I mean,
Um,
kind of. Like, would have been nice if you got some rain out of the deal.
Yeah, it's also calving season here, so the last thing they need is a blizzard.
Yeah, no blizzards, no
But,
hailstones.
still, I mean, I'm sure there's people other places calving too. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we were talking about while you were gone, just like if it feels like a rat race, maybe it's time to
Yeah.
refine your goals and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Well,
Morning, Rebecca.
okay. So, just to share with everybody else, so I started back to my herbal school, and I'm on a timer. I've got to get through it, and I'm having to, because they changed owners, I'm having to go back to the very first lesson, and they've tweaked them a little. So I'm having to redraft essays
Mhm.
and answer, like, the quizzes are easy. I mean, that's not a problem.
But
The
that's hard.
essay,
The redrafting essays is really hard when you're not
yeah, and I'm just
having to
writing them from the beginning. Like that, I'm
pay
kind of
about 6 acres.
because some of them are asking you to look at your own health and kind of gauge where you're at, what you want to, that kind of thing.
Right.
And that's changed. So I'm having to redo that. I'm trying to do one lesson a week to get myself up to like roughly where I was before they changed owners, because then I'm looking at new information for the first time, right?
Hmm.
And I've got 2 years. So I'm doing that. That has to be a priority. But hey, about 6 acres and everybody else, good to see you all. Um, but I need to still grow some stuff. Like that's on my to-do list. And I need to do a survival seeds video. So I did baby steps. I cleared off my area where I'm going to be putting some seeds. I got my warmer, I got my light out, everything's right behind me for me to be able to get those seeds started. And I wanted to kind of chat with everybody about, oh, I love it, Lisa. Love it. Um, yes, the necessary actions. That's kind of what I need right now. And I was thinking, like, I need to grasp and understand, how behind am I really? Like, what did I do last year? Boy, I need to
Well,
find my notes. Am
well,
I that
here's the thing
behind?
though.
This is what I'm wondering.
Well, your
What
goal
do I
is grow
do?
stuff, right? And
Like,
they always tell you to make a goal, like, so you can actually, it's measurable, right?
yeah, mine's
And
not.
but anyway, we're not that refined,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
Um, because that leaves it open for you to know what you've got to do. Hey, budget preppers.
yeah. Hey,
But
Natasha.
look, you you prioritize and sequence the actions. You already got your stuff
Yeah.
out.
Okay, and now this is helping me because we're having this discussion. Like everybody, hopefully I'm not the only person struggling with this,
You're not.
but I'm still, it's a new growing area. But I'm looking, and last year looks like I started seeds on February 26th. So I'm not too far off. And I even looks like I restarted seeds on um, March 6th for some radishes, March 22nd, March 11th. Hey, look at there. Oh, wait, never mind. Those were up potted. Whoops a daisy.
It doesn't matter.
I think I could save time though by starting my seeds in a different way.
Well, but here's the thing. The point is just set aside 30 minutes to start some seeds.
Okay, but how should I, what way should I start the seeds? Like because I'm thinking I could buy some time by doing, maybe the baggy method with paper towel. Maybe I try it a couple different ways. And I'm also thinking I could do some winter sowing. I mean, it's spring. Like it's not quite winter, but I could still we have some cold stuff coming through. It gets cold at night. Maybe I could still start some seeds in my jugs, my gallon jugs, water
Sure.
jugs. I could start some out there. So this is where I'm getting hung up now that I need your help. And
Don't get hung up
well, I
because what
don't
works for you is
yeah.
won't work for me.
See now, Gwen, see her question, what seeds do you start indoors? That's where I'm getting decision fatigue, or I'm getting this I'm not sure what's best, and it's making me pause. And I feel like when I get this happens to me. I don't know if it happens to everybody else, but I'll get in this. Oh my gosh. Which should I do? And then I get hung up on what to do, what's going to work best. And then I don't make a decision and I put it off and I get busy doing other stuff. And then I get more behind. And this is kind of like, I'm recognizing this about my personality. And here's where I'm at. So Gwen, what seeds do I start indoors? Normally I start everything indoors, but I don't have time for that.
Okay.
Winter sowing, Lisa, helps me to not have to babysit as much. So I do want to winter sow. And I know we're like early spring, but it's still really cold at night. And there's certain things I shouldn't plant yet. So I can use the jugs.
Heather suggested your brassicas. The bottom line is you could do your brassicas in winter sowing.
Heather, would I need to put them in the jugs, or do you feel like I could just go ahead and plant them straight into the ground? I mean, we could be as low as the 30s at night still.
You're overthinking it.
I am.
You're overthinking it.
You're
my
observing
friend.
my brain in real time.
But here's the thing. Just
winter sow.
start if you're gonna do peppers and tomatoes, like Gwen said, right?
You like those inside.
Start those inside and start with that.
Okay, so inside I'll do my peppers.
You've done this before. And you've done well.
Yeah. I started my tomatoes inside too.
You're overthinking it though, because you've done this all before.
Yeah.
And you know the heat-loving plants got to stay inside.
You know what's a bummer though? Yeah, they do. And here's the thing. I was up potting my tomatoes like right now. So with that being said, do you think I should do like seeds? Maybe do the tomato seeds in the baggie with the paper towel, because that's going to shorten my time. It'll make them grow faster, so I'll be less behind. Hey, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy. But it's going to be an extra step. Do you have time for that?
Oh, that's true. Good point. So maybe I just suck it up and I run a week late.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
is that the worst thing that can happen?
Let's see. How late am I? No, I guess not.
There you go.
1, 2. So I'm only like 2 weeks late because I started those seeds the 26th in February last year.
I got my peppers started in March. I should have started them in January. It's okay. It is what it is. If I need to go buy starts, I'll buy starts.
You know what happens to me sometimes too, Lisa? Sometimes when I get myself worked up like this, you guys are seeing me all worked up. That's what's happening. My brain gets me all, what do I do? What do I do? And kind of make a big deal out of nothing. Sometimes what happens to me when I get worked up like this and then I start doing whatever it is I've been putting off doing, then I start having fun. And then I just, you've seen this in my videos, right? The chocolate at Christmas time, for example.
Yep.
And then I start having fun with it. And I'm suspecting that might be what happens. So you have a long season. They will do. You're right about that. Like, man, we had tomatoes forever. All right, I'm going to do peppers and tomatoes inside, and I'm going to try to winter sow like everything else.
Write down
Okay.
what you need to start seed wise.
I got my things. At least I might like do it and then decide I want more, but I have seed starting trays and I've got seed starting soil.
So
And I told my husband, get 2 kinds of dirt in case you get one I don't like. So I've got enough for even the jugs outside.
so get all the jugs ready, get all the seed trays ready,
Mm-hmm.
and then every night just
Hey, Annie.
take
Thanks.
10 minutes. Hey Annie, take 10 minutes or 15 minutes and just plant stuff and you'll have it all planted in no time.
Okay. I'm going to prioritize the vineyard chicks and bushcraft family seeds.
There's a good idea.
Yeah, I'll get those done first. And maybe I can even start working on them tonight. I have a late meeting today, but yeah, maybe I'll try. At least I got the area cleaned off.
Here's good information.
Okay, let's do it. Think of seeds like you would make a pot of soup. Would you cook your diced potatoes before adding them to the pot? No. Seeds are meant to direct sow right into the dirt. Okay. True, true. Okay. You got my brain thinking.
Uh-oh.
I know. That's what gets me in this one. No, I think I have been able to make some decisions here. Inside, I'm going to do peppers and tomatoes. And I may do some of the herbs, but everything else I'm going to put to the winter sowing jugs. And I'm not going to think beyond the seeds for beyond the survival seeds right now. Like maybe after I get through this first step, my brain will clear up a little bit and I'll be able to do that. I'll be able to
And
next
give
step.
yourself some grace though. You're running ragged. So it's like just get your list of what you want to plant and start checking it off little by little.
Mm-hmm.
You can easily prioritize when you look at the list, like you just did.
Yeah.
And then just whittle away at it.
Yeah.
Stop worrying about time. Stop worrying about all that. I mean, will it be your best year ever? Maybe not, but that may be out of your control to begin with.
Yeah. True. True.
I mean, that's the thing. You don't know what's going to happen this year. We don't know what weather's going to do. We don't know what bugs are out there. What diseases.
Chaos. Yeah.
So just do your thing little by little. I mean, I know for me, it's like I put it off. And then when I finally do it, I'm like, that didn't take long. But, one of the things that I like to do is, like this year, I actually pre-moisten my soil. I'm usually the one who never does that because I forget.
Yeah.
And I had it in the bucket ready to go. And that made my life easier. And then the other thing you can do is you can pre-moisten it and then you can put it all in your trays. And then after work, you can easily get a lot planted very quickly. Hey, Garden State.
Oh, yeah, I could. That's a good idea. I mean, I've been trying to make sure that I, get up away from my desk and actually move a little bit during the day.
Right.
So one of my little 10-minute step away breaks to make sure that, you don't develop blood clots from sitting in one spot all day long. Maybe during one of those, I could get my soil put into a bucket outside and, get it moistened and stuff and then put it in the trays or do it little by little throughout the day. And then
or at least one tray that you're going to plant.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm probably going to do them both at the same time just because, it's kind of the messy part of it, right?
Right.
Get the messy part done and then have it in here. The area is ready. Yeah, I'll do that. I like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Tomatoes, possibly some herbs inside. And then all the other stuff outside. And I'm going to see how that goes.
Exactly.
At least with my beds, I know I don't have as much work to do in them as I did last year. I did a lot of work. Show your graphic again. Let's talk about that.
Before I do that, I want to ask,
hey, Robin.
I know Heather has a freeze dryer, but anybody else in the chat, I am making sourdough with Italian seasoning today. Well, I'm letting it bulk ferment,
Yeah.
which will probably be till tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to stop buying breadcrumbs from the store as
Mm-hmm.
well as stuffing mix.
Good idea.
So what I was going to do was freeze dry and make breadcrumbs and then put them in a jar. I'm sure the breadcrumbs will be fine.
Yep.
The stuffing mix. What
Mm-hmm.
do you guys think about freeze drying it? I'm just curious if
Shelf
anyone's
life.
done that. So
I've never tried to make it like ahead of time for shelf storage. That's a wonderful idea.
well, normally I do it. Oh, I have a loaf of bread, but sometimes you want stuffing or need stuffing for a recipe, and I don't have a loaf of bread on hand.
Yeah.
That's,
Mm-hmm.
a couple days old.
Yeah. Or you
So
have
I
a loaf
want
of
to
bread that's a
have
couple
it.
days old and you need to get rid of it somehow, and it's something else to do other than just making breadcrumbs too. That's
Yeah.
another.
So what I'm going to do today is probably make, because we've noticed that the bioengineered stuff is making it into breadcrumbs. So
Mm-hmm.
and stuffing mixes. So I want to try and make my own. So that's why I've got 2 loaves of sourdough that I'll make today. That'll go
Mm-hmm.
for that.
Yeah.
So anyway, it says, will you add broth to moisten it? So I think it would work great.
Are you
True.
talking about shelf storage life though? Is that what your ask is? Or you just want
Yeah, I mean, it should be fine because I'm going to seal it. Obviously, it'll be in a jar, but I'm not going to
to?
store it for 30 years. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So yeah, I'm betting it would be good, Lisa. I'm
I
betting
think
it'd be
so
wonderful,
too.
and I'm hoping you do a video. I am.
All right. I'll wait until I have my sourdough. But I
Mhm.
guess what I'm wondering is with do I
Hey,
need to
Jan, thank you
do I
so
need
much.
to dry it out or do I just freeze dry it?
Mm.
That's what I'm trying to figure out because normally you dry it out.
Oh, you do? Huh.
Well, normally you take
Oh, you
day
mean
old
like
bread.
you mean not you don't normally dry something out when you freeze. What do you do when you freeze dry something? Do you have to dry it out before you freeze dry it?
No, but I'm thinking like, when you use day old bread,
You dry it out, yeah.
you kind of put it in the oven to toast it.
Oh, the toasting part. And that
So
does
I'm
impact
wondering, do
the
I need to do
flavor.
that or like can I just let it get old and then do it? I just don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
Huh. You could do it
Hey
both ways,
Jan,
Lisa. Maybe you need to do it both ways. And can you do that? Is that too obnoxious?
I don't want to do both ways. I want to try one. I'm being lazy.
So, okay, so here's what I'm thinking.
Heather said freeze dried would last longer. So you mean freeze dried without cooking it? I mean, obviously the bread would be cooked. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong. It would
she's
be.
saying, Heather, like, should she toast it first and then freeze dry it? I think yes, but maybe not toast it a whole bunch. Because if you toast it a whole bunch, then it's going to be dehydrated already. And I don't know if that makes a difference when you go to freeze dry stuff, but I
Okay.
suppose. But you know how, like, when you toast stuff, like, it's toasted up here and it's toasted down there, but in the middle, it's kind of squishy. So then if it's like that, at least then you're hitting that flavor factor and then you freeze dry it to make sure it's thoroughly shelf stable ready. That would
Right.
be, if I was going to try it, I think I'd do that way. Because otherwise, just regular old bread, like when you go to rehydrate it and it's just regular old bread, right?
Yep.
It's not, it's going to impact the flavor and it'll be interesting to see how the consistency is anyways. But the
But
toasting
Gwen
it
was saying
part.
you could just freeze dry the bread or dehydrate the bread, then make breadcrumbs or whatever with it. What I was thinking of doing was chunking it into the cubes that I want and letting them sit out overnight uncovered
Mhm.
because they'll dry out.
Yeah.
They'll get that crusty edge, then freeze dry them.
Yeah.
What I was thinking.
Huh.
Because it takes all the moisture out.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
anywho,
You have to let us know what you decide.
yeah, I will. I will. Let me
Mhm.
see. Let me
Yeah,
get this
that'll
here.
be fun.
Okay, there you go.
All right, awesome.
Thanks,
Um,
guys, for the input.
Yeah, you're welcome. I have a question for you before now about the whole freeze dry. When you freeze dry something with your freeze dryer, how long do you estimate your shelf life to be?
Well, if I put it in Mylar bags and it's completely freeze dried, it's like 25, 30 years, but I'm not going to have it that long.
I had somebody leave a comment on my freeze dry meal videos, and they said that when I open the containers, that I'm decreasing the shelf life of those things.
Sure you are.
But is it really like to 6 months to a year?
No.
They're assuming like those kinds of instructions are based on not like sitting out for a while before, because I'm pretty dang snappy. When I open them, I use them, I take everything that's not put into Mylar bags and put them in a jar, and I'm moving really quickly to try to make sure things aren't exposed to the air, right?
Me too,
So,
but it depends a lot on, the humidity. You have a higher humidity
mhm,
environment than I do.
yeah.
Yes, that's always a compromise to that stuff when you open it.
Yeah.
I've not run into an issue, but I've also not had stuff that was anything that I open
hmm
and okay, here's an example. Onions. We often do onions.
Yep. And those are 25 years. Yeah.
So
Oh.
we do an onion, we dice it, we freeze dry it, we
hmm
put it in containers and packages. That's something we frequently open and reseal.
hmm
We do it pretty quickly,
Yep.
low humidity environment,
hmm
never had an issue, but it doesn't last 6 months.
It
So
doesn't.
stuff like that, I don't go into unless I'm going to use it right away.
Interesting.
Within,
So,
maybe it'll take a month to go through it.
yeah. I mean, because I vacuum sealed them all.
Right, but the food is going to absorb some amount of air, oxygen,
hmm
because you're letting more oxygen in.
Yeah, because you let it in and it
Right.
absorbs it. Huh.
I mean, that's reality. But, again, if you open up a meal in a jar, you're going to make it.
Now, let me ask you this. When you're freeze dried food, you said it doesn't last that long. Is that because you're using it? Or do you mean it doesn't last that long, like it goes bad? What do you mean?
Okay, it doesn't last that long because I'm going to use it and
Oh,
replace
okay.
it.
Okay.
The other thing is that's why I use mason jars, because when they're in the bags, even though they're marked, I just keep forgetting to use those. The jars are so
Mhm.
much easier because I see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, plus, I
Um,
like the Mylar bags for the longer term storage. I like to have some things in a jar because I can see it. Like, yeah, this is that, whatever. We make it like this. See here, look, this is it. Does this look good, honey? Like, how about this for dinner? Like, I like to
right,
have the jars for shorter term emergency storage. And then the Mylar bags or something, I really just want to have in a bin and then I put it away, and that's our long term storage, is what I'm
right.
thinking. But when I saw that comment and I looked into it, I couldn't quite, it doesn't like, I get it's being exposed briefly, but isn't it exposed briefly when it comes out of the freeze dryer and it goes in the bag in the first place? I mean, unless somebody's dilly dallying and having it sit out all day or something. I don't know. If you look it up, it's going to say that it's 6 to 12 months for some things.
Yeah. And Gwen, that's what I was worried about. So thank you. That's why I'm on the fence about it.
hmm
So yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, give me an example of something that you're opening and closing and not going to use right away.
Oh, I'm not. I don't do that. Um,
Exactly.
Yeah, like if I'm opening anything, it's to make these meals. Okay, one thing, if I run out of bell peppers, I have used the bell peppers. That's like, to cook with. And then I
So,
get what I need and I put the lid back on. I use my vacuum sealer and there it is. But
and
I'm
how
talking
long?
about those meals that I made that came from the containers to the bags. And now they're all sealed with the oxygen absorber in the Mylar bag. Like those, what do you think? And how can you tell when freeze dried food is bad?
It'll be soft.
Mm. Okay, that makes sense.
It'll be soft.
Okay.
Um, you want to make sure. Look, the reality is, anytime you open up a vac sealed can, of
Mhm.
freeze-dried or dehydrated food, you're letting moisture or oxygen or any of that stuff in.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's the reality.
Mhm.
I've freeze-dried herbs that don't
Mhm.
get used
Mhm.
in 6 months, and I vac seal them back up. They've never gone bad. They're still
Me
crispy.
neither. Yep. So true.
Again, low
Good to hear.
humidity. If you opened it in summer without AC on, it could be a different
Mhm.
issue. But again, you're
Mhm.
quick, you do what you got to do. That's what I do is get everything ready, have the vac sealer
Mhm.
out,
Yeah.
and quick put it back on.
So
Yes,
we
you're going to
probably
run the risk.
all right. Thank you
But
for
it,
having this discussion with me.
yeah,
That
I
helps.
mean, but that's,
I mean, I didn't want to when I read that comment too, I don't just discount people's comments and think that I know everything. You know what I mean?
we all don't.
I
But
try to investigate it further to make sure that I'm what I think I'm doing right is right. And I put the date on my bags as to when I sealed it, but I wasn't sure how to even be able to tell if it's gone bad. But you said because it gets soft, so that makes sense.
how many times have you gone to the grocery store and bought a freezer, an item from the freezer?
Mhm.
Even if you drive home with an insulated bag in the summer,
Mhm.
it starts to defrost.
Yep.
And what do? You get home, you put it in the freezer.
Mhm. That's right.
There's always a risk.
Mhm. True, true. Good point.
We drive over an hour away, and so all our refrigerated and freezer stuff goes in the insulated bags, but I can't I can't change the fact that I'm an hour away from a store.
Yep.
I mean, we make sure we go last, right,
Mhm. Yeah.
to that
I
store, but
wonder if let me ask you another question. Do you think it would be a good idea for people that live in climates that have a lot of moisture, like we do? Do you think it would be a good idea for those mylar bags? You've got your oxygen absorber in there. Do you think it would be a good idea to have a moisture absorber in there also, just in case?
I don't know because I wouldn't need them, so I don't have a lot of experience with them.
Me, well,
They
you
say
know
that,
where I'm from. That's why I'm running it.
well, I think they talk about, what is it, desiccant?
Uh huh. Yeah,
Those are
I guess.
moisture absorbers, and
Yep.
they say that they only use them with, um,
I have some.
well, but
Let
they
me
say
grab
that
that
you
bag
usually,
real quick.
if
I'm
your
gonna
stuff is dry enough, you don't need it, is
Yeah,
what they say.
yeah. And there shouldn't be any moisture that can leach into the bag, right?
Right. Rebecca, I put oxygen absorbers because my items are dry when they come out of the freeze dryer. I will not put them in jars if they're not completely dry. So I put in the item, I put an oxygen absorber in, and then I top it off. Exactly,
Well,
Heather.
they're not right here where I thought they were. So, it doesn't feel like I would need to do that because they are sealed and I've got even using the iron on them, to kind of crimp to that top of them.
Right. Yeah, Heather, I've read that you should still put the oxygen absorber in. Obviously, I'm not an expert, but I've read that there is sometimes a little bit left in the jar, even though you're vac sealing it, that it's a good idea to put an oxygen absorber in there
Mhm.
for the tiny bit that's left. So I use it
Mhm.
um, for any items I'm putting on the pantry and I won't use for a while.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I don't know, for me it's like insurance.
Yeah. And they're not that expensive. I mean, especially pint-sized jars, you got to have 100 cc. Quart-sized jars, you got to have 300 cc.
Yep. I bought a whole big pack of them
Mm-hmm.
of different sizes and that
Yep.
works well. And
And
I'm
I'm
very
loving
quick.
it. I'm loving these meals. They're so fun to make. They're so nice to have on hand.
They're super easy too.
They are. I did the time before last. I did a lentil and something else soup, and it was so lentil and barley and bean soup. Oh my goodness, we put sausage in with it. So good. It was just amazing.
The one thing that I've noticed is a lot of the recipes will call for dehydrated and freeze-dried items,
Mm-hmm.
and I struggle with that because dehydrated takes a lot more water
Mm-hmm.
than freeze-dried.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, your
Hey,
potato
LP.
flakes or potatoes that are freeze-dried, hey, LP, um, they take a lot less water than the dehydrated ones.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I went to make mashed potatoes the first time,
Uh-huh.
and I put this boiling water in there, and I had so much soup, so I ended up making a ton of mashed potatoes and putting them in the
Uh-huh.
fridge because it just doesn't absorb as much.
Mhm. Yeah. Nancy, me too. That's under oxygen absorbers in Mylar bags, and don't worry about them in the jars if they're
Yeah,
vacuum sealed. Yeah, that's how I do it too.
yeah.
But
I always put them in my jars.
hmm
Um,
better safe than sorry, because sometimes you might not, the seal
mhm.
might weaken or something. I will
Well, in
say
that case, I
I've done
mean,
that, and that when you go to push the little thing off, well, it wasn't okay. So it's I have the oxygen absorbers in a jar that's vacuum sealed. When I go to push that thing off, boy, it's sucked on there good.
I know it. And that's the thing too, like you have to make sure when I made those scallop potatoes, you have to make sure, like when you're canning something,
Mm-hmm.
you have to make sure that your rim is clean because I sealed those jars 3 times cleaning them and they
Mm-hmm.
kept breaking
Mm-hmm.
because of minute powder on the rim.
Yeah.
So I finally went and got vinegar and a paper towel
There you go.
instead
Yeah.
of a regular paper towel
Yeah, that's a good idea.
and wiped it and it sealed
Mm-hmm.
really well. So,
Mm-hmm.
does
Yeah.
anybody have any questions while we're doing this?
I've got us like terribly off topic today too. I'm
It's
sorry.
fine. I'm sure nobody minds. I'm sure
It's good
nobody
to chat
minds.
about, though. I feel like that's one thing that you don't tend to see in a lot of videos is people taking the time to have, some discussion about these kinds of questions.
Huh. I don't get too much into it because
Mhm.
I feel you need to do your own research.
Mhm. Yeah.
And because somebody will blame you for spoiled food that they ate.
Oh gosh, right? Good
That's just
point.
where I'm at.
Good point.
It's kind of like you need to, this is what I do. That's all
Mhm.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
need to figure out what you need to do,
that's right.
you know? And
All
it's
right,
like
let's look at your diagram again too. Sorry, I keep pulling us away.
no, that's fine. It was driving Gwen crazy, so
Was it?
hang in there, Gwen.
I love diagrams.
Well, let's just go over it quick.
Yeah, do it.
So, you identify the end goal, then you're going to brainstorm the necessary actions,
Mhm,
right? And say, okay, this is what I need. These are the steps I need to take. So, if I'm going to be pressure canning, I need to make sure I have a working pressure canner. I need to have jars. I need to have lids. I need to decide what I'm going to make, all that
mhm,
stuff.
mhm,
And then prioritize and sequence the actions. Obviously, you're not going to make the recipe and then go get the jars. You're going to make
mhm,
sure you got the pressure canner, the jars, and then do the recipe.
mhm,
And then set deadlines for each and what are you going to do by
mhm,
when. And then obviously monitor your progress. Give yourself some kudos if you're accomplishing it. And if you're not, don't beat yourself up. Just figure out how you're going to do it.
mhm.
I'm going
Yeah,
to take it down so it doesn't drive people crazy.
we
But
should have a banner with those little steps on it. So, um,
I can do that while you're talking.
okay, yeah, do that. So sometimes identifying that goal, like you have your long-term goal, and then you've got to break that sucker down, right? So, like for all of us gardeners, we want to grow some stuff. There's different levels of how much you want to grow, but is it going to involve starting another garden bed, or is it going to involve studying up on maybe something you're growing that you weren't successful with before, or how to fight a pest problem that maybe you didn't overcome in the previous garden year? Or is it going to be, for me, it's how do I try to get more production, food production, out of the same space that I have? That's kind of like where I'm at, because watering all these garden beds is a lot of work. And if I could get each individual plant to produce more food, that would be the best way to go before we have more garden space. But
Right.
I know Gail over at Gail's Southern Living, she started all of her flowers out early, and she's planting all kinds of companion plants, because one thing that kind of decimated a lot of her crops this year was pest pressure. So she's starting with that kind of in mind. So there's that kind of breaking it down too, and identifying your goals. And maybe like part of your goal, you want to grow some stuff, and you want to make, like for me, I want to grow some stuff, but I'm hoping that my bell pepper plants and my tomatoes did pretty well, but I'm hoping that each plant that I grow produces more food than what I saw per plant. So it's kind of a dual goal there. Heather,
Right.
I have never fooled with a fertilizer before. This is like beyond, like, reading or adding whatever you're supposed to add into when you first plant something, that kind of thing. Or, sprinkling a little bit. We've got goats, so we've got wonderful manure, right, that we can use, and kind of putting that on top of the soil but I feel like I'm a one-time shot on that. I haven't done like interim fertilizing throughout the season. I haven't done that, and I think I need to.
Sometimes that's all you need to do. Other times, not so much. Depends on the plant.
Yeah, like maybe I
Depends on
need
the
to do it
soil.
once. Maybe I need to do it once a month. Go to the goat pen. Maybe I need
Yeah.
to. I've never done bone meal. I've never used a bone meal. Uh,
Really?
Have you?
Yeah.
That hasn't been something that I've thrown in there. I don't think. I don't think I have.
It
If I
depends
did,
on what your soil needs.
mm-hmm,
Test your soil.
mm-hmm. I know you tested your soil once.
Well, I mean,
Was
you could
that
do it
really
easy.
helpful, you think?
Oh, it was really helpful for me. Yeah.
Huh. How quick was
Oh,
the response time?
oh, super quick. A week, maybe.
Okay.
You can buy kits that you can do it yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and then you look up what you're low in.
All right. Very cool.
It's not hard.
Yeah, agree, Heather. She's saying there needs to be a chart on the plants and what or when to fertilize.
Right.
A chart, yeah. Instead of going one by one, because you probably, like, if you're like me, you got a bunch of stuff in one garden bed. Yeah, I like that idea about getting a test to test my soil, and then you just mail it in, huh?
Or you can get one you can do at home.
Okay, I like that. Let me turn this off.
And that's I'm looking up to see chart.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then brainstorming actions, which you guys have gone through a brainstorming session with me today.
Right.
This has been awesome.
Well, it's a good live example of breaking it down.
It is on a couple of things, right? Not just the gardening, but also the whole freeze dried meal things. Because I love those freeze dried meals. It's so fun too, you guys. Oh my gosh,
I
so
do
fun!
too.
Isn't it fun? Like you can
Yep.
sit. It might take you like an hour when you're fooling with everything, but at the end of it, you've got like 12 meals made. It's
Right.
awesome. Um, yeah, and then prioritize actions. So in my case, we talked about I need to get my seeds started and the winter sowing. But what I needed to do that was holding me up was I needed to make a concrete a decision and put a plan in place.
Right.
And that's, I think, maybe what holds up a lot of people sometimes. And set deadlines. So my deadline's by this weekend. Ask them what the soil. Oh, I love that idea. Okay. Yeah, because it's probably the same or similar everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Like here, it's a known thing that we're high in selenium.
Mm-hmm. What do you do
and
about that?
nothing you can do is my
Mm-hmm.
understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, it does not affect us for
Mm-hmm.
what we do. However, goats, horses, cattle, they don't add, our feed store will not add it into the feed
Mm-hmm.
because we are high selenium.
Ah, gotcha. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I could still do the soil testing. Mm-hmm. I like that. I'll get on that this week. I know what my homework is. See, and I work good like this too. Y'all are very helpful. And I have to tell you, just saying, if anybody has not written down when they sowed seeds and stuff, I had it in my little book here. So I was able to go and reference and see what I did last year.
Hmm.
That makes me feel so much better to know like where I am with things. You know, am I on track? Am I off track?
Right, right.
Mm, yeah.
And the reality of it is off track is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nobody, I don't, well, for the most part, for me anyway,
Yeah.
it's going to be different because it's going to be when I get to it,
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
we were up in the air and I was kind of dragging my feet because I'm not a garden lover.
Mm-hmm.
So I was dragging my feet and I kept putting it off. And I finally got to the point where I said, I'm going to plant peppers.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also at the point where if they don't do well, I'll buy starts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not the end of the world. There's no shame in that game.
Yep. That's right. Yay for the starts that are available.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I find they do better.
Mm-hmm.
Other times, not so much. Depends on what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to do watermelon this year. Um,
Understandable.
we'll see if my husband wants to try that, but they didn't turn out. I don't know if we didn't water them as much as they wanted to be watered. That could have been a thing.
They need a lot of water, is my understanding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is a lot. That's time consuming. And there's a lot of good watermelon around here, so no reason we need to be there.
There you go. Made a decision.
And they take up a lot of the garden bed space.
Well, that's the thing. Can you plant it somewhere, where it's semi-protected
Mm-hmm.
and it's say grass and throw a quick little fence around it
Mm-hmm.
versus,
The garden
waste,
bed.
wasting a garden bed for it
No kidding.
because that takes up a lot of room.
It does. That's a good idea, Lisa.
Yeah, I mean, because you have deer and
Know a
so
spot.
you're gonna have
I tell my
critters.
husband, you want to grow watermelons, this is where you need to put them and fence them. I know a spot.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Where we could do that. So true. Good idea.
Well, that's why I bought, multiple reasons why I bought bush acorn squash, bush butternut, and all that stuff because I don't want the vines all over. I won't be able to plant as much.
Yeah. Is
But
that what you?
also, vines take longer to grow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I am going to be
Mm.
growing pumpkins. That's
Nice.
they're the sugar pumpkins, so they're not like the huge ones. If they're the ones I'm thinking of, that expecting them to be, so
Nice.
they shouldn't. Yeah, they shouldn't take up too much space.
Does anybody need help breaking down goals or anything? Or
How's everybody else doing with their goals? We're in the third month.
third month?
Mhm.
Next month is April.
Can you believe it?
Fast, fast, fast. It was nice
Boy,
to get through the turn of the February. It was like, yes,
yes. Bring on spring.
pie
Sugar pie
pumpkins.
pumpkins do really well on a trellis, and that's what they are. They're the vineyard chicks, the survival seeds pie
Nice.
pumpkins. Mm-hmm. On a trellis. Okay, that's something I need to try to work with this year is a trellis. That
Yeah.
would be cool.
Well, if you
Mm-hmm.
got a cattle panel, you got a trellis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's easy enough to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pie pumpkins. Oh,
Yeah, that's what they are, Heather. You're doing it too, right, Heather? Aren't you in the survival seeds?
that would be cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we got about 5 minutes left.
hmm
So what are you gonna? What are you? So you got your goal, Tammy.
I got my
Your step?
goal.
What's your
My
step?
my steps are to get my soil in a bucket and get it all pre-moistened. And maybe add some goat fertilizer in there while I'm pre-moistening it. Can you do that with seeds? Are you supposed to
Yeah,
fertilize
but if
seeds?
it's brand new soil, you shouldn't have to.
hmm Okay, and then you need to do that entry, Heather. There's your goal for this week.
Boom, Heather.
Yeah, one assignment. Anybody else looking for an assignment? I can help you with that.
All right, continue. I want to hear this.
Okay, so I'm going to do that, get the soil wet, and load up my trays, and then bring those in, and then I'm going to plant my seeds.
See
Within,
that? You did
yeah,
that beautifully.
yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
So you set the goal, you brainstorm your actions, you prioritize actions, and now deadlines.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to do the seeds that are putting the peppers and tomatoes. Those are going to be the first seeds that I start. I'm prioritizing those.
Okay, but you also have to set deadlines for each of those steps.
Okay. So I'm going to get peppers and tomatoes planted by tomorrow evening.
Well, you got to back up though. You got to go, when are you going to do the soil by?
I want to do that like during the day, during like one of my 10-minute breaks, or in the morning before I start work.
So set a date and a time by then.
Okay. I'm going to do that by tomorrow afternoon.
Perfect.
And then by tomorrow night, I will get the seeds put into the soil.
All of
In
the seeds or the peppers?
peppers and tomatoes.
There you go.
Yeah, that's my goal.
You did it.
Maybe some herbs if I start, nerding out and I have fun with it. And
Well, and then you're going to
then
monitor your progress and see if you
yep,
met your deadlines.
yes. And we have a horrible storm on Friday. So that means today's Tuesday, Wednesday. So by Saturday, the storm should be gone. By Saturday, I want to get all of the soil into my jugs and then get my winter sowing started this weekend. Maybe even
Yep,
by Sunday. I might give myself till Sunday.
that's fair.
And let
So
those
you,
guys stay outside.
I don't mean to focus on the storm, but you're saying that big storm is going to be by you by Saturday?
Yeah, it should be past us by Saturday, I think. My husband's a
Interesting.
storm watcher, but
Interesting.
I think it was supposed to be Friday.
Yeah, I think for us it was Friday
Mm,
and Saturday. That's why I was
Yeah.
puzzled.
Yeah.
So we're not hearing much about it.
Now it's just showing windy. So hey, maybe I'll be good.
That's all we're showing. It's but they won't. 3 days out from the storm is when they'll start hyping it up.
Yeah. So
Heather
maybe
said, add a photo on your community tab.
okay.
And Gwen's hubby's
I need
assignment
to
is
get
to get
better about
this
that.
stump out of the garden.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anyone else working on anything? What's your assignment going to be, Lisa?
um, I don't know. It's nice out.
It's so nice. Go fishing.
We were gonna go shed hunting.
That's one of
Actually,
my assignments too.
Ryan wants to go shed hunting,
Oh, that'll be fun.
so maybe this afternoon. I'm
Yeah,
not
I think
doing a lot of
that's fun.
goals this week
Yeah, that's fun.
because
Fun,
it's
fun,
I
fun.
really, but I will. I'm gonna get spinning my new fiber.
But having fun is in the 7 F's.
Can I show you something fun?
Do it.
I don't think I showed this to you, but I think you saw the video. Hold on. We have to get this hung.
Oh my gosh, I love it. That is
That's
so
the second quilt block.
cute. Oh, it's adorable. I love that.
Oh, it's so cute.
It is so cute.
So I'm glad I got it done in one day, and now it's been sitting for 2 days so we can get it on the house while
Oh,
it's nice out.
That's awesome. Yes, that's going to be adorable. Love it.
I
Love
know.
it.
It's so cute.
It'll look cute up on the wall with that other one too.
Thank you. Well,
Mhm.
it's time.
It is time. All right, everybody.
Thanks for being here today, and I hope this was helpful in breaking down your goals into manageable stuff. And yes, I know, Heather, it's super cute. I will have
It's
to look into that. That was a good idea.
yeah.
So I hope everybody does well with their goals. And if not, we still love you. Don't worry. Life
Yeah,
happens.
it happens
Um,
to us.
but thanks for all the help today. Thank you, Robin.
Mhm.
But we will be on Mountain Grandma's channel next week.
Yep.
Mountain Grandma, you got anything you want to say?
Hope y'all have a great week.
All right. Take care,
Give
guys.
me some
Bye
stuff.
bye.
Bye, everybody.